Hey, welcome to another episode of Hobbies My Wife Hates. Today we're going to use green stuff rollers to make some bases for the Shadows of Brimstone Spanish Fort. I hope you like this video and I'll see you at the end. Okay, so today we're going to make bases for Shadow of Brimstone, Valley of the Serpent King. I want to make Spanish Fort bases for 30 millimeter bases. And we're going to use green stuff rollers to do so. Now, green stuff makes these great rollers. In this case, I've got Aztec, I've got Egyptian, I've got wood plank rollers, and I've got flagstone. And what these bases do is they allow you to make bases by rolling these pins over green stuff. So what I did is I made a template. I saw this online on a YouTube video. I made a template just like this to help make green stuff bases so that they roll out evenly. And this is just 2 pieces of plastic card with a bunch of 30 millimeter bases glued to it, raising it up. So we're going to make some bases now for Spanish Fort. We're going to use flagstone. All right. I did make some Aztec bases for other miniatures. I think my Children of the Mountain are going to go on Aztec bases. So what we have to do is we have to make some putty. And we're going to use, in this case, Milliput standard modeling clay. It's a 2-part clay. By themselves, they're inert, but when you rub them together, mix them together, they will harden. So we're just going to put these together and make us some modeling clay. Now you can use this or you can use green stuff. These other bases here were made using green stuff. This is how green stuff looks. Same concept. You rub together the blue and the yellow. You rub it together and it will form a kind of putty, I guess, that hardens. I think they call it epoxy putty. You can get the green stuff on Amazon from Green Stuff World. It's all over the place. Games Workshop sells it. The Army Painter, they have some. I'll put a link in the description below for where I got my green stuff and Milliput. So we just got to put this together, keep it going. Now that we have that done, we'll make a little ball. All right. And then we'll put it on. Might be a little too much. We'll put it on the base and we will flatten it. Okay. And then we will just put it right here. And we'll take our green stuff roller. First, we got to wet the the putty. Keep it nice and wet so it doesn't stick to the green stuff roller. We'll also get the green stuff roller nice and wet. And we're just going to roll across. And by using this tray here, with the clay elevated, we can use the sides just to roll the roller right over. All right, it makes a nice even base. So here we go. Look at that. Came out nice. And what we can do is we can mass produce them. They'll fit 5, 6 of these things. And we can literally mass produce bases instead of having to do one at a time. So let's try that. Okay, we're back. We've got our 5 remaining bases, and we've got our green stuff roller. I'm just going to get it wet. We got these wet, and we're going to try to roll it right across, and hopefully they won't come up this time. Look at that. 5 bases done really quickly. Now we'll just set these out to dry overnight. It takes about 4 hours to dry, and they'll be ready for priming. Okay, we're now going to make another one. This one's for a 90 millimeter base for our Serpent King miniature for the Valley of the Serpent Kings game. We had to make a big ball of milliput. We're going to wet it. And we're going to try to flatten it. Didn't have enough water there, so it stuck. So we're just going to rub it on there. Remember, at the end of the day, you can trim anything that overhangs or file it down or do whatever. All right, so we've got it flat. Going to get it wet. Smooth it out. Try to make it even. And then we're going to take our template. Just going to put it right in. And this time we're going to use our Aztec roller. All right. Going to get it nice and wet. And then we're going to roll it right over. Off, that's okay, and we will just pry it off. And there, look at that. We got a great Aztec base for our Serpent King on a Qatari beast. And And we'll let that dry overnight, and then I will trim up the sides when it's done. Okay, so here we are with the dried base, and we'll go prime it and paint it. Okay, so we've got the base primed black, and now we're going to give it a base coat of Army Painter Leather Brown. We're painting these up to look like the Spanish fort bases for Valley of the Serpent Kings. So we'll start with a base coat here of leather brown, and we'll let it dry. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do using a dry brush, we're going to do a mix between a dry and a wet brush of Army Painter Monster Brown. And we'll let that dry. And last we'll do a dry brush of Army Painter Kobold Skin. And we'll let that dry. And then we're going to use some Army Painter Soft Tone. And we're going to go through the cracks. And we'll let that dry. I actually want it to be darker, so we're going to do it again with a Army Painter Strong Tone. I like that better. We'll go back and we'll do a touch up with some kobold skin. And now we just want to make it look a little aged and overgrown. We're going to do some Army Painter green tone. And we'll let that dry. And with that, this base is done. They're not a perfect match. It's a nice match for the Spanish fort tiles. So there we have it. We've made 6 bases for Shadows of Brimstone Spanish Fort for the Valley of the Serpent Kings box set. We did it in roughly a few minutes, knocked out 6 bases using a template. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in a future video.